All right. Kendell Hollowell is back here with Sports Illustrated, the NFL Network. We're going to talk about this upcoming game between USC and Nebraska. Both teams are trying to get back to the top. One team's 6-2, the other's 5-2 and ranked. If it's a close game, Kendell, who wins down the stretch? That's the first question we're going to talk about on this episode of Locked On USC.
You are Locked On USC, your daily podcast on the USC Trojans, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Fight on, everyone. I'm your host, Mark Holkin, and thank you for making Locked On USC part of the Locked On Network your first listen every day. Whether you're watching the show on YouTube, you can pick the platform, you can download this podcast, and this show is going to be free, and this show is always going to appreciate your support. And this episode is brought to you by Mazda. Like our players, we sweat every detail because when you make every move count, pulling off the unexpected is only the beginning. Stay tuned later for this week's highlights of moving the game forward. Mazda, move and be moved. All right, so Kendell, including the USC's loss to they lost to USC last year, Nebraska. They've lost 4 games by 1 score. USC fans, they know that song. They know the words of that song by heart. USC actually held the lead late into the fourth quarter of every game last year, except for that loss to Notre Dame at home. So USC is still trying to kind of prove themselves, trying to show everybody that they know how to win on the road. They got by Purdue, but so is everyone else. I mean, they're not very good. And then they had the lead with under 2 minutes to play in the game against Illinois. We know how that game ended. And then in their other road game, we know how that ended against Notre Dame.
Right.
So the Cornhuskers, they have a couple of comeback wins this year. They beat Maryland on the road. They came back against Northwestern at home. I guess my question is, it's a night game. It's a blackout game. What are your thoughts about USC on the road? Both teams are fighting for their playoff lives, both trying to elevate their national relevancy. I know there was a long lead in, but they're kind of similar teams trying to accomplish the same thing, prove they can win close games.
Mm-hmm. I mean, they are the same team. Exactly. I mean, Nebraska's just played one more game at this point. USC's ranked. Both have 2 losses on their resume right now. Got coaches that have won at high levels and have kind of done it. And obviously trying to do with the same thing with this next program, trying to get them to that level. But you asked the question, if they're in a tight game, who's going to win? To say USC, and my prediction is going to be that USC wins the game. But it's not quite that simple because they haven't done it. They're 0-2 in those situations so far this year, right there in that close game against Notre Dame. Notre Dame pulls away. You mentioned the Illinois game. They fought back and they got the lead late, minute 55 on the clock. And then obviously Illinois goes down and kicks that game-winning field goal. Lincoln Riley talked about this last week when he was said the games, like these games on the road, are the ones that you have to win to kind of take that next step, right, to ascend as a program. I mean, This is it, right? The opportunity is right in front of you, right? You're going to play this night game. It's going to be a blackout. They're going to be in all black uniforms. The crowd is going to be in all black. It's going to be jumping. That stadium is live. They're going to be loud. They're going to be energetic. They're going to be passionate. The game that he was talking about, the games you have to win on, we talked about it last Tuesday, that's Saturday. So, right, you have to go and get it done. And as far as just what they need to do, I think it's simple, right? It's the execution that you see through the first 3 quarters. You can't, falter in the fourth quarter, kind of what they did against Notre Dame. You have to get stops in key moments, which they didn't do against Illinois. So kind of those 2 things that plagued them last year in 2024 haven't necessarily happened at the same time this year in their 2 losses, but they've happened in each of the games, which is why they've lost them.
Right. So I think you would probably agree. Close games usually come down to, whoever makes the fewest mistakes and special teams play. Nebraska, they're kind of good on special teams. They've already got a kick and a punt return for a touchdown. We know what happened to USC against the Domers last 2 weeks ago. On Thursday's Zoom call, Coach Riley said that the kick team is actually going to strengthen this year, kick coverage, and a lot of that is attributed to Ryan Sayeri. Most of his kicks are for backs. So he said that we've actually covered kicks the best since he's been here this season. And I don't really disagree with that statement.
Mm-hmm.
Then he went on to say, they executed, the direction and the flow of that kick that was returned for a touchdown, but they didn't really tackle. In fact,
yeah, I mean, that's everything right there.
Yeah, he says, we were in position
kind of the important part of kick. Kind of the important part of kickoff. I mean, it's kind of the important part of kickoff, all right, tackling.
Right, and he said, we were in position for a TFL, but that didn't really happen. I mean, the kick was directed into the corner. It was 2 yards deep, and they were in position. You had, I think it was Timmy Robinson playing, I'm going to try and hold on for your life, but that didn't work. Do you agree that special teams kick coverage has been good this year? Because it's hard to argue against Ryan Sari, but as far as the rest, is USC in position to handle the return team?
I kind of give it an incomplete grade because we haven't really seen it. Like you said, he's kicking it through the end zone. I can't even remember how many times I've seen them actually bring it out. I don't know. I'm not gonna say I disagree because I think they, and again, they had the missed tackles against Notre Dame, so I'm not gonna say that I don't know. I mean, I don't think it's a weakness, and I think at the end of the day, we'll look at it. I think the Notre Dame kind of kick return is kind of an outlier a little bit because, I mean, they missed multiple tackles right on that one. It wasn't just like one guy in a clear lane. It was just kind of just bad.
And there was a key hold as well that really screwed it up. So, I mean,
I mean, we can debate those all day, back and forth. But at the end of the day, you still have to get it done, whether it's called or not. It doesn't matter. At the end of the stat sheet you look at, it's going to say Jadarian Price 100-yard kickoff return, not Jadarian Price. There was 2 missed hold calls on it. Like that part is irrelevant at that point, especially now that we're talking about it here on October 30th. Again, I mean, you obviously have to do a lot better. Again, I'm just going to say it's an incomplete grade right now, just because we haven't seen it so much. It's not that and I don't disagree that it hasn't been good. We just haven't seen it a lot.
Yeah, I mean, even on that one, you said 100 yards. It was actually 102 yards because it was 2 yards deep. So
I think they only say in college. Yeah, I think something like that. I don't think they count the extra 2. Yeah. No, you're right though. You're right. Yeah.
Regardless, to your main point, you got to get it done. And this scares me about this game. It's on the road. It's going to be a hostile environment,
to say the least.
And I think his name is Kenneth. I can't remember his last name. Williams, I think is the last name, or Sims. Anyways, 35 yards per kick return.
It's a lot.
That's a lot. Yeah,
that's a lot.
So if you were USC's special teams coach, how do you game plan for this? Do you say, Ryan, I don't care what you have to do, you make sure that ball goes out the back of the end zone? Or do you maybe, get a little creative and try and pick it high and make them fair catch it?
The fair catch thing is very, very interesting, right? Because that's always the idea, but it doesn't always necessarily pan out that way, right? You kick it so that they do fair catch it and the 20-yard line, 15, 20-yard line, and kind of has it's not the NFL rules, right? You kind of have a little bit of a distance before your guys kind of get down there. So I'm gonna disagree with the fair catch philosophy. If he can kick it out of the end zone, kick it out of the end zone. Don't even give him a chance. Don't even mess around. Don't get cute with it, right? You're on the road. You already have different elements that they're going to play into this game. Kick it out of the end zone and play defense, right? We'll just leave it at that. We'll just keep it simple and get it out there and get your defense on the field, right? Don't have them either the fair catch and they start on the 30 to 35 yard line, or you risk a kickoff return. Just kick out of the end zone and go play defense.
Yeah. The other thing, besides it's going to be football weather. It's going to be cold, but the wind could become a factor as well. And Ryan has been nails this year, from distance, from short, everything. This might be the first opportunity for where, we say he's getting tested. So that's why I think this game, if it's close, it's going to come down to special teams. And that's where all of a sudden now Nebraska kind of gets the advantage just because of their return game. So that's all I was.
Yeah. You said, you mentioned the wind, and obviously that's going to play a factor. And Ryan's been really good, especially at 50-yard field goals, right? He's got range. He's got accuracy. He's got all those things. And I think with the cold and the wind element, especially, he hasn't been, he was good in cold. And it wasn't cold in the Notre Dame game, which was rainy. It was still kind of warm a little bit, but it's a different environment, I think that's all going to be determined what he does in pregame. I think that's going to be the most important. I think that's going to be something especially I keep my eye on during the pregame and as guys start to come out, is how comfortable and how does it look from 50 plus, because that's going to determine everything. I mean, that's going to determine as soon as they cross the 50, that can change their play calling, in those situations, because if he's not comfortable and it doesn't look right on 45 to 50 plus because of that cold weather and because of the wind, then like you said, I mean, that's just going to change everything in the game. So I think that's a really underrated aspect that we have to keep our eye on.
Yeah, I agree. Absolutely. All right, we got a couple more segments to go here on this episode. Next segment, Kendell and I, we're going to talk about USC's defense. What kind of defense are they packing for this road trip? And then we always end the Friday show with a Friday rant. I got some words for the good people of Nebraska. We'll see what Kendell has to say about on his Friday rant, but I got a little tease for you about the people of Nebraska. That's coming up next. This episode is brought to you by Mazda's Moving the Game Forward. For those who believe it's not just about playing the game, it's about redefining it. There are moments that do more than just put points on the board. They move crowds. They move the culture. Keep moving the game forward. This week's moment is about how USC responds when they hit the road to play Nebraska. The Trojans, they kicked the bye week's butt. Now they need to show that same fight if they want a chance to chase their playoff dream. They have to win a blackout game. When you follow what moves you, the unexpected is only the beginning. And just like there's more to every highlight, there's more to a Mazda vehicle. Mazda, move and be moved. All right, Kendell, here's a question for you. I'll keep it short and sweet. Can USC hold Nebraska's rushing attack? And when I say Nebraska's rushing attack, I mean their running back, Emmett Johnson, to fewer than 20 carries. And why I say it that way, there's not one other running back on that roster this year that has carried the ball more than 16 times the entire season. I mean, cumulatively. So it's either Emmett Johnson or it's nobody.
Yeah.
When he carries the ball 20 plus times in a game, they're 3-0 against 4-4. When he gets less than 20, they're 1-2. Assuming USC's defense pack their bags, is this going to be one of those bend but don't break type of defenses for USC? Dink and dunk stuff from Dylan Raiola?
It's as far as the number of carries, right? I mean, that's going to be determined by by the offense, right? If they can get out to an early lead, kind of put them in obvious passing situations, then they're going to have to kind of go away from the run game a little bit. But if it's a tight game down the stretch, then maybe the 1-2 becomes 2-2. But as far as just the number of carries and how they kind of determine that's going to be based on the offense and kind of what situations that they put him in. If the playbook is open for Nebraska throughout the game because it's a close game, then he's going to reach that 20 carries. You hope that it's that 1-2 become that changes that. But it's going to be there. I think they're going to do it very, very early. I think they're going to test USC based on what they saw against Notre Dame. I think especially those first couple of drives, they're going to lean into him heavy, and maybe because of that, they kind of get to the 20 carries. But that's going to be something that they really lean into early, I think.
Well, let me rephrase the question then. Do you think you're going to see a different type of USC defense? In other words, are they going to actually look like they're selling out to stop the run? And are they going to force Raiola to throw the ball? Because we didn't see that against Notre Dame. It's like they never said, hey, you know what? We're loading up the box. Beat us through the air. Never saw it.
Yeah.
And USC paid the price for that.
For them in the Notre Dame game, it didn't matter what they tried. The run blitzes, putting, I guess, an extra defender in the box, going to too high shell. I know somebody on Twitter had asked me about this a couple of weeks ago and was like, does USC need to run blitz more? I'm like, run blitzing is not the problem. They don't execute the run blitzes. And Riley talked about it for the past 2 weeks. He's like, we lined it up. And especially that first Jeremiah Love run, he goes for like 63 yards. He's like, we called it right. We just didn't execute it right. So, there's a difference between stacking the box and blitzing versus actually executing and getting it done. And that's the part that they need to do. Right. The question is, which run defense are we going to see? Are we going to see the one that we saw against Michigan where they were very, they attacked heavy, right? That front four really dominated, or are we going to get, what we saw against Notre Dame, and that's the big question. I mean, we're not going to know that obviously until the game starts. And we knew very early on in the Michigan game that they could stop the run, that they can slow them down. In the Notre Dame game, obviously we saw in the first drive that this could be a long day for them. So again, I think this Nebraska game that we'll know very, very early. And I know everyone wants to point to the linebacker part of it, about just the run defense and all that. Obviously, the eyes are going to be on Stevens and Walker and Gentry and those guys and stuff like that. But it's a line. It starts with them, because what Notre Dame did such a good job of getting to the second level. Either they were getting to the second level, or those guys on the front four were getting pushed into the lap of Stevens and Gentry and stuff like that. So it's not. Obviously, they could probably be a little bit better getting off blocks, and they could probably be a little bit faster. I think we all kind of see that. Sure. And it's kind of gotten a little bit better as the season progressed. But if you're getting guys just pushed back into you, and obviously you get a 300-pound guard and tackle with with a running start heading to you, there's only so much that you can their front seven. Then that's where you're going to end up with, Kamari Ramsey and Christian Pierce having 12 tackles apiece, because these guys are getting so far pushed back. So it's going to come down to those guys again. We talked about it's the same thing. We talked about this going in the Notre Dame game. It's the interior guys. The spotlight is on you guys. They didn't show up against Notre Dame. So again, here we go again. Spotlight's back on you. What are you going to do?
Absolutely. And we heard about it so much going into the season, how much better we are, how much depth we have, the talent, how much we're bigger, we're stronger. And when that gets tested against, trench teams, Illinois, Notre Dame, Michigan, you're 1-2 in those battles. Yeah. So I don't know. It's hard for me to kind of put my finger. Is it an effort thing? Is it a developmental thing? Is it a lack of talent thing? And I don't know, maybe there's a little bit of all of that mixed in, but
that's what I was going to say. I think it's a little bit of everything kind of put in there. They're dramatically better from last year. I think we can all see that they're dramatically better. Like it's night and day. They're obviously bigger. I think you and I can just tell that by walking past them, that they're obviously a lot bigger this year. And I think they are a lot more talented. Obviously you add guys like Jakeem Stewart and Floyd and all that. And guys like Cam and Braylon have taken the next step, but it's the bottom line is consistency. We're gonna keep talking about this. This is the difference between I guess them and right now what the top of the Big Ten looks like, because USC is probably within that 3 to 6 ranges, kind of depending on what week you want to define. If you want to be in that definitive top 2, top 3, it's got to be consistency, and that's what we haven't seen from them so far. And again, we're going to continue to talk about it. If you want to ascend as a program, you want to take that next step, you want to be put into this category, you got to be consistent across the board. And maybe we'll get this seesaw. Obviously they're good against Notre Dame. Good against Michigan, bad against Notre Dame. Hopefully it goes back up. There they can kind of just continue that, and just looks like that for the rest of the year.
And I guess that's the perfect segue to this question. Dylan Raiola, I think, has been sacked 26 times so far this year.
Yeah.
What will USC's body count be on Saturday?
Body count's an interesting term for that.
Yeah. Not that type of body.
No. I didn't want. No, that was an immature response. I'm sorry. That was
because ironically, Nebraska is not good on the offensive line or on the defensive line.
No, so, Michigan got after them. Minnesota got after them. I think what game was it? There's one game. There's one game. I can't remember which specific ones, but there's one game he was sacked 9 times. That might have been the Minnesota one, and then 7 times I think was the Michigan game. So it's there, and obviously USC has the guys to do it, and the luxury is they have the guys to do it for. Again, go back to the consistency part of it. Can they do it? Right? It's going to go down. I think if they can get them, if they can be really good on first and second down, because I think those are obviously the running downs for them. If they can get them in 3rd and 6 plus, I think that's when we'll see the creativity from Dan Lynn start to come out, which we've seen in previous weeks, which he's been a master at. I think that's something that's kind of been under the radar a little bit, just how creative he obviously comes from. Wake Martindale's system and stuff like that in Baltimore, and everybody that he's learned it through his time. It's kind of an extensive list, and which is all kind of generated together. And I think Scott actually brought it up to me. He was talking Rex Ryan has more of an influence on this defense than we kind of give him credit for because of his family history, right? Obviously, Buddy Ryan and his blitz packages with the Bears back in the day, and we kind of saw that a lot with the Michigan game where they were very, very creative. So I'm kind of curious to see if we see that again, if it is more of the stunts and twists and like that with the 4-down linemen, or are we going to use these nickels and linebackers more in heavy packages and really go after Raiola?
Yeah. Now, I guess I'll just make this final point on this particular topic. Dylan likes to hold on to the ball as long as possible, keep his eyes downfield, try and find one of his receivers.
Mm-hmm.
That lends to a lot of the sacks that happen against him. Now, on the other side of that argument or that discussion, USC's secondary, do we trust them to want to cover for maybe 4 Mississippis, 5 Mississippis before if it's a lineman or whomever can get there and possibly get Raiola on the ground? It's kind of you want to chase after him, but do you want to put your cornerbacks in a position where they have to cover for a long time?
Right. I think honestly that they've been a little bit better these past to the bye, which is, I guess, is they've been a little bit better. DeCarlos has had really good moments throughout the year. Again, he kind of goes to the same thing, defensive line. He has good moments. He has his bad moments. His bad moments are kind of highlighted a little bit more. And I think Marcellus has gotten a little bit more comfortable out there. I think he's playing a little bit better. Just the problem is that they're so deep, right? They're 10 yards back, and it seems like that's all they're comfortable with. And I'm not going to name it, but I had somebody reach out to me that mentioned it. That's kind of Doug Belt's kind of issue with it. That's all that they can run. And that's what we're seeing, right? It's Notre Dame didn't beat them over the top. They were just very, very consistent with those 5 to 10 yard passes, and they're kind of carving them up down the field with those. CJ Carr didn't have a big game, but he had those moments that kind of drove him down the field. And
that's Nebraska's passing game. They don't really beat you over the top. They've got 5 guys that they get the ball that have, I think, over 30 or over 20 receptions. So that's a lot. Yeah.
I think you kind of, again, we don't know fully what they've done during practice because obviously we can't watch and stuff like that. But I really do hope that they kind of put an emphasis on that let's probably be a little bit more physical at cornerback. And I guess have our safeties play a little bit more over the top and go with that. Like if they're going to get the ball out quick and we really want to get after Raiola, then obviously they're going to quick. Do we have our cornerbacks that this year, which is up there challenging them? You kind of hope that by November they're a little bit better at it, which is kind of was my hope when I talked about it a few weeks ago, that they'd be at this point, kind of this is the circle on the calendar where you kind of you want to see them be a little bit better after 2 bye weeks and 7 games under your belt. And we'll find out. Again, this is stuff that we'll find out very, very early if they're comfortable doing that. And if they can do that, then they'll have that high number that you talked about. They'll be in there the 6 to 8 range, and Cam will have 2, and Braylon will have 2, and Gentry will have his, and that's the formula that you got to have to win this game.
No, I agree, and I think one of the things that's helped them get a little bit better that you were talking about is they've cut the rotation down. Against Notre Dame, it was Marcellus, it was DeCarlos, all 71 snaps at cornerback. It was
Bishop, like that in Michigan too.
Yeah, Bishop.
Yeah, it's just those guys.
And Christian Pierce played only 42 snaps. So
some of that is the nickel defense and all that. And I think Christian Pierce has probably been the most underrated player on this defense. I think he's done a phenomenal job. So obviously if they go nickel packages, it's going to be Kamari going back down there. And I guess Alex Graham will kind of rotate in there a little bit. That's an interesting thing to kind of look out for too, is I don't think he had a snap in the Notre Dame game. So he's still at that 1 game mark. How careful are they with that? Because I think they're comfortable playing him. And I think that he's ready to play. But I think because you miss half the year, I kind of do think that at this point, you're kind of more comfortable with keeping Kamari at nickel and kind of trying to preserve that extra year. That's going to be something that I kind of keep an eye out on. And I know Riley talked about D. Riddick as another guy who's kind of stood out over the past couple of weeks in practice. Does he get in there a little bit more at nickel and get a little bit more comfortable? And I know we're all waiting for it, but when does the week happen that we see RJ Sermons at corner? Because I think it does.
I think we've crossed that bridge. I don't think it's going to be happening.
It's not going to happen this year. You're on that part.
That's my opinion. You get 4 games. Yeah. You can play in 4 games.
Yeah. I just don't see. I don't see any harm in playing him, or at least kind of seeing what, like you said.
I don't want his first taste to be on the road in Lincoln, Nebraska.
No, I get that 100%. No, I was gonna say this is probably not a good spot for him to go and do it, but I think that if it becomes a little interesting, right? If they are kind of struggling a little bit with certain things in coverage and what they do, again, probably doesn't happen this week, but do they start to think about a little bit more that we do have the 4 games, we do have this very, very talented guy he has battled some injuries, which has kind of slowed him down a little bit, and he was enrolled late, right? I mean, he got there in July, so it's not a lot of time to kind of get acclimated, stuff like that. And I think he's still 17, right? I think he doesn't turn 18. I think I was checking the roster. I think he doesn't turn 18 for at least a few more weeks. Yeah. So I mean, we'll see. I mean, it's all 3 levels. There's all 3 levels, right? Can the defensive line be consistent? Can they get after the quarterback? Can the linebackers be a little bit more better against the run? It's back to that the ascent thing. If this is the program that you want to be, if this is the program that you think that they're headed towards and that they're building, which I think that they are, this is going to be the great test for you. You're on the road. It's going to be fun. Saturday night is going to be a lot of fun. I'm very, very excited.
No, this is definitely a playoff elimination game for both teams. I mean, USC actually has the advantage because they only have 1 loss in conference, and they're very advantageous if they finish with just 1 loss in conference head to head. They're actually like the second in line, which is I kind of saw that and I was like, oh wow. Can
I ask you a question about we talked a lot about the defense, and the offense is obviously the offense is going to score points. I don't think that's the question, right? I mean, they scored 24 points against Notre Dame. It's the first time this year that they haven't scored more than 30. And it felt like, and then we heard Coach Riley talk about it after the game, how about the run game, that they felt more opportunities in the pass game, which is, there's always going to be opportunities in the pass game, right? You have Mekhi Lemon, you have Jacoby Lane. Jaden's obviously very, very talented. I'm curious to see, if it doesn't work very early in the run game, kind of like it does the Notre Dame game, do they kind of abandon that a little bit? Does that concern you a little bit?
No, it's a really interesting question because I remember Jaden's first start last year was against this team, and his first pass was an interception.
Yes.
So I don't know if that's if that's just like way back here for him or if that's still playing in his head. I went ahead and I wrote about this on USC. USC has to be able to rush the ball for at least 150 yards or more in this game. Because when USC's offense is balanced, it's really hard to stop.
They're one of the best teams in the country. This is when they are balanced on offense and that defense, like we said, I think it all was put together. We talked about the big games. It was all put together in the Michigan game. When you have that, this is one of the 10 to 15 best teams in the.
Yeah.
And I put the stats out there on Twitter. I've done 2 over the last couple of weeks for USC that as far as like rushing the ball, you mentioned 150 yards, and I think I put anytime they have when they have more than 30 rushing attempts, they're 9-1 over these last 2 games. I know everybody's going to say, and then I'll say this other one first. Jaden Maeva, when he has more than 40 pass attempts, they're 0-3. When he doesn't, they're 8-0. And I know everybody's going to say, oh, of course, when you have more run plays, you're probably ahead and stuff like that, obvious passing situations. We have to remember, over these last 2 years, they've only had 2 games where they lost by more than double digits. It's all Notre Dame games. So it's not like late in these games, they have to obviously throw the ball, which is why some of the numbers look like that. I'm just curious to see if because he doesn't have, I don't think that he doesn't trust King and he doesn't trust Brian, but obviously you don't have your top 2 guys in Wayman and Eli, and we kind of saw it in the Notre Dame game with Coach Riley. If it kind of isn't there a little bit, do you just completely abandon it and you just become a pass-happy offense?
Let me end this segment with this answer. Just go back to the game at Minnesota last year. You will see Woody Marks had 146 yards on the ground. There was at least 10 minutes left in the game. He never touched the ball again. They got pass happy. So to answer your question, this is more about play calling, and this is more about Lincoln Riley staying with it rather than, sometimes people say he likes to get cute when he doesn't need to get cute.
Yeah. So
that's my answer to your question. All right. I've got my Friday rant all lined up. Do you know what you're going to be talking about? Because that's coming up next.
I've actually enjoy this segment. And I'm thinking about it all the time. So I actually got a couple for you real quick.
Okay, let's take care of some business first. So it's almost the weekend, which means it's time to look back and crown this week's MVP on Who Delivered, powered by DoorDash. Just like you can win every Saturday with DoorDash Streaks, saving money every time you order, these players delivered when it mattered most. Well, USC's players, they took the week off delivering highlights with the bye week. That's what they were doing. However, this week they plan on delivering a win on the road against Nebraska. So just like DoorDash delivers your Saturdays, with DoorDash Streaks, you save every Saturday you order. You can stack it up all season. You can save up to $250, including $100 in DoorDash credits. And if you order this Saturday, you can keep the streak alive. Fuel your game day only with DoorDash. Terms apply. Promo period will run through November 18th. And FanDuel is also a sponsor of this show. And the NBA is back, Kendall. And there's no place to get in on the action than with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Even if you miss the start of the game, or you want to, maybe just kind of ride the hot hand, FanDuel has live bets on everything, from who will score next to the fourth quarter comebacks. Plus, you can even combine your live bets into a same game parlay for a shot at a bigger payout. It keeps every game exciting, especially when your team's making that late push. Right now, FanDuel is giving new customers $300 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. So head on over to FanDuel.com, sign up, and play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. All right, Kendall. So I don't know. Have you ever been to Nebraska before?
I have been, not to the Lincoln and stuff like that, but I've been to the state.
This is my second opportunity coming out here. I came out for the USC Nebraska game back in 2007. Some of the greatest people you'll ever meet. So nice. In fact, this isn't really a rant, other than I wish I could rant against the people in Nebraska. But so I get to my hotel. I mean, the girl is all smile. She's cheery. She's like, "Oh my God, I can't believe you're here." And I said, I need to get to my room. I've got a Zoom meeting I got to do with Coach Riley here. Yep. She's, "Oh my, we have your room ready. Here's your key. Go." This is awesome.
Yeah.
So afterwards, I ordered some lunch, and I'm right in the heart of downtown, the old downtown area. And I found a place that was like less than a half a mile away that I can walk to. So I'm using the Apple Maps for the directions, just to make sure I'm going to the right place. And it takes me to the wrong place. So I call the restaurant. I say, "Where are you?" And the guy who's working there walks outside. I tell him where I'm standing.
Yeah.
"Are you wearing this?" I said, "No." He goes, "Are you wearing this?" I said, "No." He goes, "Oh, I see a guy wearing a red hat and a blue shirt. Is that you?" It's like, "Yeah, that's me." You see me waving?
Yeah.
I was like, "I can, thank you." My point is, this usually when you go on the road, you're looking for fans to have some, type of fun, type of interaction. Nebraska fans don't give that to you. They're just nice. They treat you like you're part of the family. And while I truly love that, at the same time, I kind of miss that, whole fan interaction animosity. Nebraska just doesn't give that to you.
That's been like a complaint on social media I've seen this week with fans. They're like, it's too nice going back and forth. They're like, where's the hate? Like, where's the animosity? Like, that's been like a huge thing. Like, we got to find something to go after each other with. Like, everybody's like, "Oh, USC fans are so nice and Nebraska fans are so nice." Like, we're about to go play a football game. Like, we got to find something to go against each other.
Yeah, I'm thinking maybe if USC leaves with a 50-0 victory, that might change.
Oh yeah. That was so somebody is not going to be a fan of the other by Saturday night. That's for sure.
If I was to rant about one thing, because it is a helmet game, it's USC versus Nebraska, two iconic brands. Why are they wearing all black?
Yeah.
Anyways, that's my rant.
It's a night game. You're playing. Nobody ever wants to say it, but you're playing USC, right? You're playing the USC. I know what I love it that they're doing the all black uniform. I think just one as just a pure college football fan, I think the atmosphere is going to look incredible on Saturday night. But I do understand that you would like to see a traditional versus traditional. I guess the new school, if you want to say that. I'm actually very, very excited to
go with a red out. Do something.
A red out, yeah, I understand. But I mean, how many night games do they have?
I don't care. It's not my problem.
I mean, I know it's not, but no, I get it. If you're gonna do something like, I mean, save it for Iowa or something.
What do you need to get off your chest?
I'll go quick with them because you actually inspired my first one from the Illinois game going back.
Right.
So I'm going back. So I had a connected from Chicago. I connected in Denver, and I go back, and I'm sitting next to this lady, and oh my goodness, man, is she talking? She's like, it is like not. It's not even. The thing is too. It's like it's not even just conversation. It's like her like speaking her mind out loud and like telling me like all her comments and stuff like that. Like as soon as I sit down, she's complaining about this passenger doing this and this passenger doing that, and it's like going back and forth. And straight up, I'll call it how it is. It's the first two people that she complains about. They look like me, right? They're African American, and I'm sitting here. I'm like, straight up, I'm like, you think I'm on your side with this? Like, she's just going like, just nonstop. And then so like again, and I get it, right? You sit down, you're trying to be friendly and stuff like that, and like that's not the issue and all that. So then before we take off and stuff like that, we get ready to go. Naturally, I put my headphones on. I start to sit back, still going. Still talking, just a lot of comments, like making just kind of speaking her mind, pointing out different stuff, just regular conversations. And then I fall asleep during the flight. And Mark, I kid you not, as soon as I wake up, bam, she starts talking again. I barely have my eyes open, and like I'm still trying to like gather myself from like waking up, and she's just talking about everything, just whatever's on her mind, whatever's happening. And I'm like, I'm trying to be respectful. I'm sitting here, I'm like, I do not care. Like I do not care.
Were you giving any type of like subtle, not so subtle hints? Like,
no, I mean I didn't like shush her and stuff like that, but I was just like, yeah. I was just like nodding and stuff like that. I was like, yeah, that's cool. Like just like I'm not like deeply just engaging in conversation. So I guess like my rant is, what is the limit on talking to the person like next to you? Like I understand, like again, I'm not trying to come off as a mean person or like that, or like I'm mad at the lady. Like it's fine. We sit down, we're trying to have a conversation, but it's like it's more of her just openly speaking her mind. And then like I said, when I put my headphones on, she's still going, being like she's still going. I'm like, I'm just trying to relax and get home.
Right. So with me, I've reached the point of my life where my filter is like this big. There's no filter left. Yeah. So if I was in your situation, I probably would have given her 5, 7, 10 minutes of my time. Yeah. But once the headphones go on, once I go to sleep, that's where our relationship ends. Right there. The next time I want to hear her voice is, "Oh, it was a pleasure, sitting next to you. Good life." Yeah.
Like again, I'm not mad at her for talking or engaging and stuff like that. It was just like the going back and forth, like any chance she had to talk and kind of just again like speak her mind and all that. I'm like, I was like, I'm not the person for that. I'm like, I'm already tired from this early flight. Like my eyes are barely open. Again, I'm just trying to get back, and I was just like, it was. I was like, I cannot. I just there should be a limit. I think before, like once the flight attendants, I think start doing their thing. I think that's kind of when we should start going our separate ways. Like unless like you're really, really engaging in a conversation with somebody and it's like a real like back and forth and all that, and both people want to continue. Other than that, like you got to leave it at that. Like we gotta move on.
I get, like I said, I do a lot of not so subtle hints. I stop actually answering. I'll just kind of nod, give some facial body language. After that, I in the past I have done this. Please don't be offended, but right now I'm in my own thoughts. I really need some space. So
that's bold. That is bold. I don't know if I have that in me.
You'll get there. Eventually you'll get there.
I feel like I will. That is not in me right now. Just to put it out there, and be like, I'll be like, this conversation, we're done. This will continue no more. Like you said, maybe at some point I'll kind of get there, and then
if the girlfriend can come up with excuses why she needs her own space, Guys have that prerogative too, and I don't care where you are, whether it's on the couch, in work, or in an airplane. Hey, space.
Yeah.
So, anyway.
I got you. And then, sorry, I had the second one. I got to get off. I'll go real quick. Because like we texted this, you texted me this morning, stuff like that. And we kind of, putting it together, right? Real quick, back and forth, right? 6 o'clock tonight, back and forth, done, right? We got it set. I have a real issue when it takes people like the entire day or the next day to get back to me on something. Like it's, and here's the part that really gets me is when, again, I'm not even mad that if you're busy, you're busy, right? We're all busy. We all have stuff going on and stuff like that. Sometimes you're always not checking your phone. But if I'm with you and I see you going back and forth on your phone, texting back and forth, and always on your phone, and I'm like, so you're clearly on your phone. You're clearly looking at the messages and stuff like that. And like my issue becomes when we're talking about something serious, right? Or if it's like we're trying to put something together and it's clearly a real quick, like it's not going to be an all day. It's just a quick back and forth thing. And it's like a simple, like, I guess we'll do, I send off 3 messages and you send out 3 messages and we can kind of get that done within the hour. When that's it, like it turns into like a 2-day conversation. That's when we're doing too much. Like we're all busy. We all have stuff going on. Just again, if it's like something that it's like that's serious and about work, because this came because I was texting somebody from work about it last night for today, and it got to the point they were taking so long that I emailed them. I emailed them because I was like, they're looking at something.
No. At that point, we're done with email and texting.
Yeah,
I'm on the phone.
That makes sense? On? Yeah.
And that's what I was going to say. If I send a text message to somebody, especially if I know their phone is always within their proximity, I don't get a response back in a couple hours. I'll hit I'll respond to my own message with an exclamation point emoji. And
you like your own messages. You like your own, and I'm putting it back up there. Like what I said hasn't changed. It's coming back up. That's what? That's actually smart. I think I might start doing that instead of sending another message.
If you don't get a response after that, forget the email. Yeah. Because it's not going to respond to your text. Forget a longer. Get on the phone. Hey, Bill, what's going on? Why didn't you respond to my message?
Yeah. There's like a very few selected people. One is my brother, because my brother is obviously terrible when it comes to replying to messages. There's like a couple people. There's like a very, very small amount. If there's a time limit, you don't respond to this message and stuff like that, I'm not texting you back. You clearly don't respect us going back and forth with this conversation. If I text you something, 9 a.m. and you text me back at noon the next day, I'm not responding to that. This what I had to say is irrelevant anymore. Like this conversation is done. Like there's no way you just went that entire time without looking at the message and having something to say.
There are only 2 valid excuses. One, you were sick and you just did not want to deal with anything.
Those are fair.
Or 2, you lost your phone. After that, there's no excuse. I agree with you.
There's always valid. I accept. I'm not an unreasonable person. Like there are obviously valid excuses. But again, if as soon as I see you and stuff like that, and we're the entire time, and I see you constantly texting back and forth, that's when we start to have a little issue with this. With you taking a little bit too long. I leave people on red. Okay, I'll say that. I leave people on red a lot. That's a lot of messages that I don't respond to. But if I'm responding to you, I generally do get back to you pretty quickly.
Yep. Look, I try and live by the whole credo, your best ability is accountability. So it's, the invention of text messaging has taken all the pressure off of having to talk to somebody on the phone.
Yes.
Use it. And that way you won't get Kendell or myself getting all aggro in your face about it the next time. All right, man. That was a couple of really good rants. I can relate to both of those very well.
I appreciate that.
Not a problem.
I'm sure most people can. I hope so. Yeah.
I hope so.
Yeah.
In fact, I hope more people are just more candid, more upfront instead of trying to pretend. I hate people who pretend.
Nobody wants to play games in relationships, back and forth with your partner. Shouldn't do that in real life with friends and, situations, relationships all across the board. I'm 100% with you with that. Let's straightforward.
Absolutely. All right, give me your final score so we can get out of here.
Yes, USC 34, Nebraska 21.
Okay, we're in the same ballpark. I got 37-23, so pretty much in the same area.
Got a lot of field goals. Got a lot of field goals in there.
It's going to be one of those, like I said, it's going to be a special teams game. I just have this feeling. I just hope USC comes out on the positive end of it because that's usually not their forte.
Yeah.
All right. That's it for this episode of Locked on USC. It was a little bit of an extended one. We were having a good time with it, so we just kind of got the flow. I will be back with my instant reaction show at some point after the game. It is a night game in Nebraska, so it'll be one of those late posts, but I'll be back again next week with another 5 episodes. If Kendall's available, he will be joining us. So until then, everyone, you know what to do.